Welcome to the Lifestyle Chase. This podcast features high performers who have found a way to live their best life while balancing their health, wellness, friends, and family. Proudly hosted by me, Chris Little. Without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to episode 9 of the Lifestyle Chase. Here I have with me today the one and only Dao. How are you today?
I'm so wonderful. It's Wednesday. Happy to have you here at my place. This is great.
It's pretty fancy here. So it's been a long day. Tell us about what goes into your day on a typical Wednesday.
Typical Wednesday. Well, Mondays and Wednesdays, and this week also Tuesday, but I teach 6:15 a.m. classes at Champs Boxing, one of their knockout classes, and so it starts at 6:15. I usually have to be there by 5:45 to set up everything, so I'm usually up by 5. Grab a quick little bite, whatever's in my fridge.
That's not so bad.
I lay out all my stuff the night before. I'm pretty organized. I have my workout outfit, and then right next to it I usually have my work outfit next. And so I'm out the door by like 5:30. Get to Champs. I'm pretty close, so I get there, prep up, talk to some clients and everybody around, make some connections, and then off I go, teach the class. And honestly, I'm a completely different person after the class as compared to the person I enter in when I open those doors. So typically that's what happens on Wednesdays. And then I get home, class is over at 7:05 exactly, and then I'm out the door of Champs around 7:15. I get home by like 7:20. Like, this is clockwork. This just happens all the time. I'm giving you times because it's pretty precise. Usually I catch some pictures after class, so I do all my Instagram posts right away. Hop in the shower, get ready, and then I'm out of the door by 8 o'clock and at work by 8:20.
Like clockwork.
Yeah, like clockwork.
You can't mess it up. You can't go to the bathroom at the wrong time or anything.
No, it really just and it shifts the game a bit. But then you end up doing things a little bit faster if you need to make things work. And I'm a huge non-excuse maker. So if I know I'm running behind, or if I know things are not working for me, I hustle where I need to, and kind of lay back where I'm going, wow, I can buy a little time here. So
Totally.
Yeah.
What's a typical day in the life for you at school? Like, we finished with Champs, we're moving on with our day.
Yeah.
What's the rest of your day like?
Well, a completely new hat comes on. People usually know me in so many different realms of life. I don't know if you know that I also have a hair business. So fitness is the Champs, or used to be Spin, also in the community. But when I get to work, I'm pretty serious in terms of the realm of work I do is very trauma-based, and I deal with a lot of at-risk youth, families who are dealing with factors that not a lot of people know about. Can't talk about it a lot, so I'll try to be as clear as I can, but I'm dealing with the most vulnerable kids in our city, and when I say the most, I'm not lying. This stuff usually doesn't make the news or anything. Not that it should be newsworthy, but these are things that people should know about, and I live it every day. It's very hard on the heart. It's very tough on my mind. I'm making probably decisions every split second. Requires me to be very flexible. Also, at the same time, I think I have a great sense of humor. I laugh a lot. I'm able to separate my own personal life from my job, which makes me really healthy in doing my job well. So a day in a life is I deal with a lot of crisis. 99% of my work is crisis work. It is problem solving, and it is helping 1 to 470 kids in the school, along with their families in the community. So without saying too much, that's what I do. It's pretty tough work, yeah.
But then afterwards you still have a lot of extracurricular stuff that you do. So like, what happens after school?
Well, after school, usually we debrief a lot. There's a lot that goes on. Our team is made of some pretty amazing individuals who are very, very educated, skilled, full of experience in this line of work. So we need to debrief, and sometimes those are tough conversations that we have to have, but we do that at the end of the day. After school today, we had parent-teacher interviews, so we had, I don't know, a couple hundred parents coming through with their kids, and so I had to stay till 6. Today, it's a typical day to, school's over at 3:30. Typically, I leave around 5 or 6, and tomorrow I'm going to be leaving at 8. So, yeah, a little tough.
So busy.
Very, very busy. But you know what? That workout in the morning, I swear, it revs me up all throughout the day. And even thinking about teaching a boxing class or attending a workout, like when I'm actually not teaching a boxing class, I actually try to do a workout at 6 a.m. I feel like that routine and repetition of what it provides for me and the benefits, I like to carry it over. So I really just think about it, and it revs me up again throughout the day if I need it at 5 p.m. again. So,
it's like a positive association with you.
Yeah, it's like this cool psychological twitch again that just kind of, does the trick.
It's called all across the city that are on the same page. Like,
probably.
Even myself, I get in as many 6 a.m. workouts as I can.
Yeah.
Like before I was teaching a bunch, and now I'm just going to a bunch kind of thing.
Right.
So if I remember correctly, your spin class was probably one of the first, if not the first one I ever took. Then a month or two later, I came back and jumped into the 2-week unlimited challenge. And we had been chatting before your Friday giver class. It was the first giver class I went to. And I said I was going to do 7 a week. And you looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
Would you have ever guessed that the goofy guy that said 7 a week would end up all in on a fitness career?
You know what? If you get to know me, I'm a super positive person, and I have this relentless belief in people. So I'm gonna say no. I'm not surprised at all. I'm really happy, and I'm really glad that you're in this. I feel like that passion in people can be the only thing that really makes or breaks you. Like, it doesn't matter what people say or do behind you or even doubt you. Like, I think I saw that in you, and I remember right off the bat. So amazing.
I just thought it was neat because like the version of me that you would have met there is a very different version now. I think the version of me then was a big self-doubter.
Yeah.
Was pretty damn self-conscious kind of thing, and then now like I almost have a reputation for making sure that everybody is confident in themselves.
Yeah.
Like I go out of my way to reassure people kind of thing. And I just think it's such a neat transformation kind of thing, but also it speaks to sort of your way of reading people.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you're in that position where you're teaching group classes because you have an angle that other people don't.
Right.
Whereas you can see potential in a person and nurture it.
Right.
And an average Joe will just be like, go, 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 and then the door is shut and like they're checked out kind of thing. You commit to your group classes, and I think that's why you have such a strong following. Like I've observed a lot of people from your spin classes have probably followed you on to Champs, am I right?
That's very true. Yes.
So you get like this loyal following.
Yeah.
Because you have this way of believing in people, which they could sense. And they're like, hell yeah, I'm going to follow her wherever she goes because she sees something in me that I didn't see in myself. And now I see it kind of thing.
Oh, thank you. Like you're making me smile from ear to ear here. Thank you for noticing that. I do take pride in that. As you know, I have my own career of passion. I'm very fortunate to have a side career-ish of passion too. I'm not doing this for money. It's a huge, even my own career. Like honestly, I'm glad I'm being paid for anything I do every single day because I just love it so much. So for me, the payment is the connection I make with people and the relationships I build, and I can probably check all my DMs after class, and those alone just fill my day.
Totally.
Because you have no idea how you change people. For example, with you, I actually, when I met you, I didn't create a dialogue of what you were thinking in your head, that you had doubt and everything. I was just like, wow, this guy wants to do this, great. Like, I had no idea of your story. So the thing is, what I like to explore is the story, but I let people seep that out on their own time. And I've had my own personal friends say that you have a way of doing that which is not invasive, but at the same time it holds you accountable. Like, I'm pushy, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? So it's that, and I think that comes from my teaching background. Like, how do I get that reluctant kid to love math when he hates math, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you push enough without setting them over the edge? So I think, my background kind of melds and dovetails every aspect of my life. So it's, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of my guests that I've had so far that have had some connection to teaching.
Right.
Like, teaching is such a good complement to being in fitness, because you learn, you're in it to nurture a human being. You're not in it in a chase for money kind of thing. Like, there's so much in the fitness industry. Like, as myself being a trainer, having trainer in my profile on Facebook and everything, I get targeted by a lot of those, like, scale your business, have an online presence, make more money, see less clients. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what I want to do is, like, have FaceTime with human beings that are in Edmonton and actually create an impact. I don't give a shit about scaling my business.
Right.
I just want to pay my bills, but mostly help people be more confident in the gym and be stronger, kind of thing.
Right.
So I think having people that have the belief that their career is more about, like, that fulfillment first, and then having nice things as the byproduct, like, that's the way to do it. Like, that's where you create impact, and it's so much more important to have impact.
Right.
Which is a big part of why you're a guest, because you can portray that and demonstrate that.
Right.
I think one of your qualities that stands out to me is that every time I see you out and about, you truly make a meaningful effort to say hi. And it's so true. Like, whether it's your class at Champs, somebody else's class at Champs, whether it's November Project, I don't think you've ever let me down.
I will scout you out.
It's great, because a lot of people are challenged by doing that. And also, I've had situations where, like, me being someone who is very comfortably vulnerable on social media, there's a lot of people that will reach out to me and they'll ask my opinion. They'll be like, well, I went into this studio and nobody even looked at me. And I'm like, it's complicated. It's a multi-layered thing. Those people working in the studio have their own shit that they're working on. So sometimes you have to be the one to say, hey, how are you? And then it sparks something in them. But for you being someone that people are almost assuming that you're going to be like, hey, how's it going, is so impactful for people, because there's so many people in the community that rely on that.
Right.
So even if it's across a gym or across a parking lot, it's so important to promote that in society. What do you think it is that reminds you to be so thoughtful to others in that way? Like, you have bad days like anybody else, but you're fairly consistent. What's the thing that brings you back to that attitude?
Well, I'm pretty introspective when it comes to how I feel. I really treat others in reaction to what I need at the time. Like, even like if you attend my classes, the words that are coming out of my mouth, it's not to serve you, it's actually to serve me. It actually happens to also serve you. So when I see, let's say, a group of 20 people attending a class, my class, whoever's class, and I'm a very good reader of energy. I feel it. I feel there's stories behind people. I can't have a dialogue of what that is, but I get drawn to that. And I go, if I were that person right there who's just kind of looking down at the floor, what might be going through my head? I'm not going to make up that story, but I'm just going to go ahead and take that leap and go over there, and I have nothing to lose.
That's so true.
I have nothing to lose. And you know what? Every single time that it has been done to me, where someone has come over and made that effort, even how small or awkward or like scary it might seem, and the conversation might actually go nowhere, it feels good. to be like, it comes down to attention, and it comes down to that human touch and affection. And especially nowadays, like everybody's wrapped up in social media. I will walk by Panda 42 and they know they're following me, and I know, like, I'm going to say hello. Like, I'm going to be that person, because that person may be thinking the same thing, but they're not going to do it. A lot of my friends and family know that, like, I'm unfiltered. I'm very brave at everything I do. And I have honestly nothing to lose. I live like I'm going to die the next day, every single day. So honestly, once it happens, 100% of the time I feel great, because I've made someone feel good and I feel good. So totally. Yeah.
Have you ever had a scenario where, say, you cross paths with somebody that you follow them, they
Yeah.
follow you, said hi, and then they just kind of pretended they didn't know you?
Honestly, never. Because I always crack that code. I always go like,
true.
hey, I know, like, you have a little makeup on, your hair's a little different. Is that you? Like, and and I'll be like, oh, didn't you just come back from a trip or something? I really try to, I could be wrong. Sometimes I have been wrong. Totally. It's like, nope, not me. And that's when but like, if that person, if I know I'm pretty like 80% positive, I'll try it out, because, again, nothing to lose, and it's funny, it's hilarious, like, yeah. And then they started defending themselves, like, I usually don't look like this, if they're looking on the more bad end of what they usually, or their Instagram shows, right, which is like really bogus to me. That's another episode of like what's real and what's not on social media. But I'm pretty real all the time. What you see in my IG stories, what you see in my pictures, and also in real life, I say what I mean what I say, and yeah.
Completely. Like, you can tell with people, and when you look at your content and what you portray, like when you're having a good day, people know you're having a good day. If you ever had a bad day and you told people about it, they would know without needing too much detail. It's just like the tone, sometimes just the filter people use. It's like, oh, that's a pretty glum filter. Better check in.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to like post when I feel. So if I like am posting 6 times a day, there might be this, way of me trying to just portray what I need to, but like there's no formula. Like, I don't do 3 posts in a row. I don't have like this aesthetic about my page. It's pretty much whatever I want when I want.
Same.
And it's pretty much my life too. I'm not gonna like, if I want to work out here today, I'm going to do it, not because this is my routine or something, So I like to break routines or go with them, whatever works for me.
Like, you could like your routine for 2 months and be like, oh, I guess I'm a routine person now.
Oh, yeah.
And like a week later, it's like, nope, not anymore. Now I'm doing something totally opposite.
Oh, that's my relationship with yoga. I love it, but, it's tough. It's one of those things that are,
Where do you enjoy going to yoga the most? What's your top 3 places?
Okay, so because I moved from the suburbs to downtown, I was loving yoga life. I went to Yin quite a bit, and I went to restorative. I found those just so calming, and they were late night ones.
Yeah.
Because I have, I don't know if you saw that post on insomnia. I actually have a lot of trouble sleeping. So that really helped me calm, and also shut off my mind and put on my Dao personal home hat versus that at work buzz. And that buzz can really so yoga life was good when I was there. I just finished a month with Moksha, loved it. Hot yoga. I do like just normal temperature yoga too, so I'll have to find a place, but we have a yoga studio right here in my building, so I actually do a lot of solo practice on my own with the moves that I know. When my son's with me, that's what we do as well.
Did I see that you organized an event for
Yes. Yoga? So a girlfriend and I don't know, you probably know Katie, photographer from November Project. I had her over for a glass of wine and some dinner, and she wanted to check the building out, so we went down to the yoga studio. I can actually take you after if you want to see it, but we decided this space could probably hold 60 people, with Matson, kind of scan out the place. Right now I have 25 people attending I'm calling it Yoga Vibes. We have Susie Bird, who's willing to do the karma class, and all the proceeds are going to Little Warriors. So yeah, an impromptu kind of thing. I love doing that kind of stuff. Like, I don't need a lot of money to live. But a lot of people need a lot of money to access the things they need to do in order to live happily. So that's kind of how I see about living.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Like when you're empowered to do things, like if you're able to utilize that area, I say do it. Like there's been so many times, like I've done 2 events at Central.
Yeah.
Because it's just been something that worked. Like I've always chatted back and forth with Vance. I've talked to Jesse, and I thought, well, hey, like I have an open dialogue with them. I have this idea, and both times I ran it by them. Like it was first time of doing something for both things. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, go for it.
And isn't it so great that you have people that support you without question?
It's
it's
nice.
Really cool.
Sometimes I take it for granted. Like I'll be like, oh, I feel so bad for myself, and then I forget about like these people around town that have like totally had my back. Yeah. Pom-poms are out, and they're like,
I know.
Go, Chris, go. And I'm like, oh, wow. That's really nice.
And you learn quickly that those people, you want more of them, right? And it's really easy when you start off with like maybe 1 or 2 people, and you're like, wow, I just met someone who's just like you. Become my friend, right? Like, and it's not what you can do for me. It's like, it's what the energy that we produce together, and that what we can do for this world. Because I think like a lot of the times we get wrapped up in, oh, you have a skill, help me out, right? Yeah. But like once you start thinking about that, then the actual thing that you're trying to do becomes lost. So if you always have that goal in mind of who you're trying to really impact, and those people around are just the drivers of the vehicles getting everything where they need to be.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I think like you and I, we're pretty similar on that, which is pretty cool.
We have our vision bus, and everybody's just jumping aboard.
Yeah, and you invite people, and people say yes, and people say no, but like all the yes people become like always driving.
Hell yes.
Yes, hell yes people, and they help you drive. They backseat drive with you and everything.
That's so true. So, with your role as your assistant principal, right?
Yes, I am.
At Delton Elementary?
Yes.
So, what was your journey like to get there? Because that's quite a process. You don't just get to be assistant principal kind of thing.
No.
How did your teaching career start?
Well, first of all, I didn't want to be an assistant principal. I didn't know how fast things were going to go or how slow. All I knew is that I knew in order to change this world, it starts with our kids. And it's not going to be me behind a desk, even working for the government or behind education policies or something. That for me is, I'm a product person. And the process for me, I'm always rushing by and hurrying. But this process, it started in 2001 when I graduated. I subbed for high school, and one teacher just kept calling me back. And he's like, "You're really good with the kids." Told the principal about it. There you go. There's my first job. I taught high school math. Fast-tracked about 3 years in and became the math department head. So I became this leader at a very, very young age. I was like, I think 23 or 24, having staff that I worked with that were double my age. So, but I quickly saw it as age is not something that you really should even care about. It's your passion in it, and the experience and the growth that you want to have is going to propel you wherever you want to go. So anyways, taught math for about 5 or 6 years, and then I taught junior high English. I went from grade 12, 11, 10, then 9, 8, 7, and then had a family, had a baby, and I wanted less marking, no more English papers and math. So I became a grade 6 teacher in the inner city. So at the high school I was was pretty at risk as well, but went to the inner city, just fell in love with the amount of commitment and dedication it took on my heart, but also the growth path that I had to have, and all the constant learning from the people around me. A lot of people saw the leadership potential in me, and I became quickly a literacy coach. I then became part of the administration team. Kept being called to the office out of my grade 6 class I was teaching to take place of the assistant principal or the principal when they're out of the building. So that experience put me in a lot of very difficult situations where I had to call some big shots. And so in calling those shots, I got a lot of experience, and here I am. I was asked to apply for the position. I got it, and I've been an assistant principal for 4 years. Just finished a program with Edmonton Public for aspiring principals. So hopefully in the next couple years, I will have my own school where I can, develop a team of teachers in a community and students and parents, and do my own thing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Do you find that having the fitness background, working in the school, do you have an impact on how much people are involved in fitness amongst your peers? Do you get more teachers into your Champs class?
You know what? I try not to mix the two. I know that's kind of like, because it's almost like soliciting. Yeah. So I don't do it much. But however, I organized our PD day, and I got, I think, 15 teachers and staff members from my school to go out to a boxing class that Robbie from Champs taught, and I just attended just like if I were part of the staff. So it was team building. They loved it. But there's fitness weaved throughout the school. Like I started yoga at my school.
Yeah.
I brought in spin bikes that I helped fundraise with Cycle Bar. I mean, there's lots of things. I had this club called the Wolf Pack, and all we did was run around and howl. But it was a way to get kids to run.
Yeah.
And there were some kids who just didn't move much, You can tell all they did was go to school and go home and play video games. So I created this cool club where and they're loud, they screamed all the time. So I'm like, why not howl and run and just get some air into your lungs? So just weird creative stuff like that I'll come up with. Yeah.
The act of howling, it sounds
I
bizarre, know. But no, it's so good for the central nervous system. It unleashes everything.
Oh yeah.
And they know that they made this loud noise, everything's okay. They can feel okay being uncomfortable, and then they can move past that. So I think honestly, that was a very good strategy.
I'm pretty silly. I mean, it's a full moon tonight. We can actually go on my balcony right now and have a nice howl. It's pretty relaxing and pretty therapeutic to just scream. Sure. Instead of screaming into a pillow or holding your breath, and all those are just really suppressing, just release, right? It's nice.
There was a book that I read, I can't remember the title, but it said, if you're having a bad day, just release that emotion. They say, emotions are meant to be felt. When you're sad, be sad. Cry, whatever you have to do. When you're happy, laugh. Find somebody to laugh with you. Mm-hmm. When you're mad, don't, pent that up. Find your way to be mad. And then, honestly, if you've had a bad day at work, rather than having it pent up and then having it brew in your head all evening,
right?
Just scream in your car.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? You're gonna yell as loud as you possibly can.
Yeah.
You're gonna get such a better response out of your body by doing that, because then it's dealt with. The body's like, okay, we got this taken care of, move on. Because you can only think of something 6 to 8 things at once.
Right.
So if one of those things is what you're pissed off about, you don't have the capacity to be happy.
Yeah.
You're just gonna be mad.
Yeah.
It could be you could see a cute puppy and you're stupid cute puppy.
What?
You only have the capacity to be mad. That's one of the things
yeah.
that you've chosen, and nobody wants to be mad at the cute puppy.
No.
It's no good.
No, I definitely go through that roller coaster. I'm pretty quick though. I can be quite hot tempered. If I am mad, I'll be 20 minutes of just pure rage, but I'll get over it really quickly. I'm all about mindset and perspective, and if it's gonna really hold me back and not be productive, I actually just drop it and move on. I'm usually sure, I'll compromise on that. Unless it's against my values, I'll really give up on things that don't serve me pretty quickly. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
Have you ever found that your performance increases in a workout when you're angry? Or are you someone that has to be clear-headed and just finding their flow state.
Oh, that's difficult because there's a lot of times where I actually wanted to cancel workouts because of my shitty day. Sorry, can I say shitty?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I have to make this explicit, like episode 2. Somebody dropped the F-bomb.
Okay. I won't do that. But yeah, but I've come to learn that when I'm in that state, I can't cancel. I need to be there. But I also I don't think I will meet my goal if I stay angry, actually. I think I'll let it get to me too much. So I do actually use the workout to change my mood.
That's good.
Right?
Like
so
that.
I kind of, yeah, I'm just thinking about back to all my shitty days where I actually did go work out. And their self-talk, it's like, all right, you can do this. Let's put that away for a second. Like, these are the things I'm saying to myself. Yeah, that was really shitty that happened to you. She's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. You talk to this. Okay, this moment right now, I gotta do this. That's a tough wad. I gotta get through this. I'm not gonna get through this if I have this emotion. Yeah, because you almost feel physically weak. You know, when your mind and your body just really connect. So if, like, you know, sometimes my eyelids will even feel heavy if I'm like sad. And so, or my arms will feel weak and I'll feel it into my fingers. Well, that's not going to help me do a power clean, you know?
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
So, yeah. So that's what I think about it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, what my experience is I've often PR'd in, like, an angry, frustrated state.
Yeah.
But only if it's directed in the right way. Like, I have to associate my struggle with the struggle in the workout, and usually what gets me in that zone the most is like a spin class, just because like if you work really hard in that class, you're like pushing yourself to this wall where it's like, oh, okay, like if I go further I'm gonna puke, like something's gonna shut down. And then I associate that with the thing that I'm trying to overcome,
right?
And then I overcome it, and then I'm like, oh well, if I thought everything was gonna end, I thought I was gonna die. And then I think about the thing that made me mad, that I was like, okay, it all ends here, and then I've overcome it in the workout. But to get to that point, I had to push myself really hard. Yeah. So it's not like I'm just like screaming at the world the whole time. Yeah. But it's kind of like a way of getting me to that higher level of performance that I wouldn't be with a clear head.
Yeah. What you kind of described to me was like, you know, that sense of during a workout when you find that rhythm and that flow and that like surge and like pull back and like, you know, this ebb and flow of just, the struggle, the I got it. Oh no, I don't. Oh no, you know, that constant pushback. And I think like, that allows you time. It's almost like, okay, I know this class is 1 hour. I'm 10 minutes in and this is fucking like, oh, sorry, see, I did it. It's like playing tricks on me, but you know you have 50 minutes left and you got time. So you're almost like you're planning that journey for yourself. And you know that you're good enough to make it to the end. But I'm going to go through all this. I don't know what it is, right? The next 10 minutes may be another crappy 10 minutes. But, you know, you kind of like have, it's faith in yourself.
Yep.
Because you've already clipped in, you've already committed. So you have faith in yourself. And so even if the whole class is a struggle, I think some hope in there that you're finishing, there's going to be happiness in there somewhere. Maybe it's the last minute.
Well, it's definitely at the end. Like, 100%. I'm never angry after the workout.
No, never.
Like, it's because I realized, oh, wow, like, it got ugly at times. It was really tough. I struggled. I had to overcome a few things. But then at the end, I survived. Yeah. So in practicing that, we get really good at being relentless. Like, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Like, thinking about how when we're pushing our limits, we get really proficient in challenging ourselves. Yeah. And the obstacles that we face in work, in life, and everything that happens in life, because nobody has it easy. There's always something that comes and bites us in the butt and it's like, oh shit, wasn't expecting that. But the more proficient we are in being uncomfortable, the more we're going to be prepared when that next thing happens. Yeah. Because inevitably it will. Yeah. That's what I like about fitness. So angry workouts are okay
Yeah.
if they're directed in the right way.
Yeah, and then you know what? And whatever emotion it is, like some people I know don't even get angry. I'm like, you
No.
should,
Yeah.
you know. But like, you know, no one should really dictate how you feel and how you take things. So whatever emotion it is, everybody's going through something. So
Totally.
you gotta work out, you know. And that's why I like sometimes like, you know, a lot of people get a bad rap for, you know, why is she posting another picture after thing. But you know, if you ever take the time to read people's captions or have that conversation right after that post workout. And see what the dialogue is in the story that's attached to that emotion, you know, and you want to really feel impact, that those are authentic things that are happening. We should really congratulate people for those moments of vulnerability and moments of pride. Like, just celebrate that instead of like knocking them down, that they went to one spin class in two months and they're making a post. Who the hell cares? And what is it to you? They're proud for that moment. One moment can matter, 10 moments can matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Like, I am definitely guilty. I've put so many celebration posts of like happy moments, but I was feeling the
Who
moment.
cares? That's celebratory. Like, that is reason to celebrate. One moment in time.
Yeah.
Let's not compare the moments.
I see other people going through like the similar patterns, and like, I recognize this. I'm gonna nurture this person because I know what it can become.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do everything that I can to make it become that.
Yeah.
Like, whether it be they become extremely confident and they're getting all the things that they want out of their life, or maybe they get into a different career that they kind of held themselves back with.
Yeah.
So many stories of like people doing something that they thought they were good enough for and not doing the thing that they didn't actually acknowledge they're good enough for, kind of thing. Like, not reaching their potential, being unhappy in their career because it was something that was in their like realm of excellence, but not their realm of brilliance, kind of thing.
Yeah, I get a lot of apologies, actually, which I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of apologies, actually. But the one I get a lot is like, you know, let's say someone has been coming to my boxing class every Monday and Wednesday for like 2 months straight, and they don't see them for 2 months. And then I get this big apology. I'm like, why? You know, like it's almost like they let themselves down, that they were committed to being committed, but then they let me down because they didn't come to my class. I don't care, you know. But the fact that they came back and like, you know, made a point of it, you know, that's cool to me. That you actually, you know, want to come back and do something, but you're like inching away, and it doesn't matter. Like, your journey's yours. I'm not here to kind of judge or so I don't understand that. Just do your thing.
Totally.
How slow or how fast?
It's a much more mature take on it than what I do. Like, when I was running my spin class, I had some like loyal followers, and if they were gone for a few weeks, I'd be like, "Are you okay? Like,
Oh yeah.
did you die? Because I mean, there's this bike that you always ride, and I'm waiting for you to get back."
You really didn't.
I was accountable to my riders, and they were accountable to me.
Yeah.
That's something that I really enjoyed about it. Like,
Yeah.
I think the bike probably hasn't seen the last of me as an instructor.
Oh, good.
But we'll see how that plays out. But it's just like you have like a connection with these people.
Yeah.
Like, you're all in there overcoming this obstacle together.
Yeah.
Like, their struggles are my struggles.
Yeah.
My struggles are their struggles.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But then people grow and change
They
too.
do.
Like, I kind of see fitness classes as like that friend from high school. You kind of lose touch with them. You know, you were really close and you saw each other every day, talked on the phone, you like did everything together, went to the mall and everything. And then all of a sudden they've got a boyfriend or they go do their own thing, you know? So people go through changes in their life. So
Totally.
maybe it's a 2-year hiatus because they went through something, but they're going to come back. Or if they don't, you meet them in another way.
Yeah.
So it might be something, it might not even be fitness. So, you know, fitness is just one piece of the pie, right? So
I agree.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's a good stance. It's a
Yeah.
healthy stance. I still keep in contact with quite a few of the regulars that rode my class.
Good.
It's neat.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it's not even anything to do with fitness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's just Instagram is a very magical thing.
Oh, I love Instagram.
Because
Don't even get me started.
people insta meet each other. Like, my episode before this was with Shane Fennessy, and the way we met was I listened to one of his podcasts and I thought it was good. I really liked the content. So then I put it in my story and I was like, this is a good podcast, you should check it out, tagged him.
Right.
We had never actually talked before. And then he was like, oh, thanks, man. And like,
Yeah.
it was just such good feedback for him because that was honestly the first time anybody had ever like given him that positive reinforcement.
Right.
And then we started chatting back and forth, and then I can't remember when the first time we bumped into each other. It might have been, he came to L2 and said hi then because he was training with Dean, and then it just kind of, we keep in touch. I've been on his podcast, he's been on mine. It's just all came from Instagram.
Yeah.
And then just the whole, like, supporting people daily, it's all kind of manifested through Instagram.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah. No, I love it.
So now on to family stuff. So you and Sebastian, you're like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
So it's neat because like seeing it through social media, we see you guys are doing workouts together, cooking together. What are 3 things you implement into every week to keep that bond so strong?
I listen to him. He's very opinionated. I don't know where he gets it from, but he has a really strong mind. He knows what he wants. Very emotionally available. Like when you're talking about when you're angry, you act angry. Oh yeah, he's very open. So I do listen. I always ask like, what would you like to do today? And sometimes he says, I don't know. And so I'll give him some options, and we make that decision together. You know how it feels when you do something that other people suggest that you really don't want to do. I don't ever want him to be in a position where he's obligated to do anything. So even with his own mother. So I do that's very important to me, the listening, but it's also, I model a lot of what I like to do and how much fun I have doing it. So he can even give it a shot. And so sometimes the things that he ends up liking to do, I like to do too. So it's, so I model that. What else? The third thing? I make sure that he knows he's loved, and that he knows that I don't think he's special, like, because I don't think that's important as how special he thinks he is. So I'm always, that dialogue is very important to me. I'll be like, so if he just accomplished something, I'll be like, how did that make you feel? I don't always immediately go, oh my gosh, amazing job, I'm so proud of you, because that means that what my feelings are for his actions are important. No, it isn't as much, because I'm not going to be around forever, right? So when he's accomplishing something, and this is the whole, like, my mindset behind, like, motivation, self-motivation, and drive, is that when no one's around, who are you impressing? Right? So if his mother's not around, cheering me on, going, good job, boy, like, who's doing that for you? Better be you. Better be damn you when you're 25, 30, 50, 85, because your mom's not going to be around. So, I model that. And I'll say stuff like, if I'm doing something well, I'm like, boy, Dao, that was a great thing you just did, right? I model that positive self-talk. So I make sure that he does that to himself, because the worst eater of dreams is you not being proud of you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's around you. You can have, like, 20 motivational speakers, like, you can have Gary V hanging around you 24/7, but if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to succeed. So there you go. That's so motherhood true. To me in a nutshell.
I love it. Something that I can speak to on that is just, like, there's been so many instances where, like, me before fitness, I think I got kind of into this rut because my previous career was, like, warehouse. Yeah. It's a good career.
Yeah.
And there's lots of good people doing it. And it was a company that was, like, energetic and growing and expanding. But for me, my personality, being in a warehouse, no windows, no real communication, you don't really get good at that positive self-affirmation. It's like, we pick this up, we put it down. Sometimes we use forklift, we write some numbers on some things and type in some stuff.
Right.
Like, we're just doing things that don't need any validation, so you never feel it. Then you forget how to, like, give yourself credit for the work you put in. Then you start to forget to put in the work, and it's just a cycle downward kind of thing. And in my life now, like, I really have to hustle. There's not a single thing in my day that is not a hustle. I'm like, right now in my situation with the gym, I pay rent. I'm an independent contractor. We created the brand of Invigorate Training, but
Right.
we just kind of work as a team. We do our group classes together, but we're each independent contractors.
Yeah.
Every client I have, I hustle. Every event I do, I hustle.
Good.
My weekend is at Central. I work at Central on weekends.
What do you do there?
I'm a porter.
Nice.
So I assist the bartenders.
Yeah.
If your glass is clean, you're welcome. If it's dirty, it was the other guy. But, I can speak to a very high standard of
That is
cleanliness
hustle.
of glasses,
Yeah.
but
Hey.
like everything I do is a hustle. But then that forces me into that self-affirmation of like, hey, I did good.
Yeah.
Because I paid my bills. Like,
Yeah.
when you're in the warehouse environment, it's like, well, we did the things, we lifted the things up, put the things down, made this check, all things done. I don't really know if I did anything meaningful, so you forget. You forget to give yourself credit. You forget to have that like confidence.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it was such a beneficial transition for me. I'm also wired that way. I'm like a big deep thinker.
Yeah.
Like you said with my like 5-story long Instagram post, I basically go to the max as much as it lets me. But I need to.
But that's you.
I'm an expressive
That's what
person.
that's what you need to do to get through and where you have to be, and yeah.
Every so often it's a real short caption and somebody's like, Chris, you okay? Like, that's just a short witty caption. I'm like, nah, that's what I felt that day.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, no, like that whole internal validation, you can't work to get validation from somebody else, because like you say, like either that person's not always going to be there, or it's just a matter of like, hey, it serves no meaning to have Gary V like, oh yeah, you got this, yeah, kill it, hustle, kill it.
Yeah.
Like, what's that gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
the person's not going to adapt, they're not gonna change, they're not gonna feel the right emotion.
Well,
Makes
then
so much
the
sense.
reason is lost. Like, well, what are you doing it for an audience, right? So, you know,
Exactly.
you gotta-
I just thought it was neat that you spoke to that, because it was something that resounded in my head. I think I did this long Facebook post this morning or something, and it was something along the lines of, you cannot like seek to get some kind of an approval from somebody else, because that's just not going to do it. You need to see that approval in yourself. You need to have that self-image that propels you forward.
Yeah.
If you're getting that from somebody else, you're just going to hit a dead end, because somebody else isn't always there. Half the time somebody else is not there.
Yeah. Most of the things I've celebrated in life, I've celebrated alone and silently. Like most of the proudest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
So, you know, which, you know, people think you should broadcast things, but not all the time. Like, I feel like, you know, those moments where you just keep close and, you know, kind of unearth it and tell people maybe 20 years down the road and stuff, those are special things, you know. So I don't know, I think, you know, at the same time I love Instagram and everything, but there's some power in keeping things private too. And you know, and I'm very vocal and very outgoing, but at the same time there's a lot of things that I'm very private about but very proud of. Yeah.
And I think in some sense, like, we can have our victory and we'll express it internally, but sometimes we know that in telling more people about that, it's going to inspire them to push their boundaries a bit. Like, a lot of time I'll put out content knowing that it makes no difference to my progress whether everybody knows it or not.
Yeah.
But there is probably somebody out there that's listening that would be more inclined to challenge themselves and see the same thing in themselves. Which is kind of like, that's my realm. I want people to see more in themselves, and sometimes you just need something to trigger. But yeah, like, it wouldn't be effective in me if I relied on, like, if I was like, I haven't accomplished anything unless this post gets 40 likes. If it doesn't get 40 likes, I didn't make it.
That stuff makes me sick.
That would be bad. Like, I've been made fun of, like, oh, your post only got 20 likes, are you sad? I'm like, no, like, it really doesn't matter. I just needed to put that out there, and it could be in a journal, but I like Instagram, so I put it on the Instagram. And that's just kind of how it works. Like validations, who cares?
No. Definitely.
So, talking obstacles in life, what's life's toughest obstacle you've had to overcome, And if you had somebody overcoming the same thing, what advice would you give them to get through that?
I can't really pinpoint. Like I said, I'm just such a very positive, optimistic person. I really don't see challenges and obstacles as that almost like. But if I were to pinpoint something that right now I'm going through, is I'm 38. My parents are in their 70s right now. I'm really struggling hard actually with the fact that they're aging. They're kind of losing their mind a little bit. Their personalities are changing as well as mine. And how do I adjust and how do I make the best of their life and my life and our time together? And they kind of have a very very tough upbringing and a tough life, and our journey here to Canada wasn't easy, and I think I don't know the full scale of the impact of their journey until now. I'm starting to begin to learn because it's impacting me in certain ways too, and kind of like my journey in dealing with their struggles and their trauma. So, kind of navigating growing up, getting older, my relationship with my parents and their time here on earth, and how am I going to treat them that is respectful to their needs without imparting what I think they should do at their age or whatever. Yeah, that's very tough right now for me. I think, and I have two siblings that struggle with it too. So, we're working on it together, and sometimes alone, and sometimes, gets tough. But yeah, I guess like how do I get over things? I kind of don't. I think it's it's a journey, and you just whatever you hit, you have to face it with some dignity and class, and you use what you know and ask for help when you don't really know.
That's a good one. Like, always
I ask for a lot of help.
Ask for help when you need it, kind of thing. Do you have a group chat with your siblings?
I do. I try not to keep like the chat text, because there's a lot of tone that can be implied, and that can get dangerous, and it has. But so I try to have those conversations, and the conversations can be heated, and we yell and we laugh, and then we discuss things, and we're logical and we're not. But yeah, I think having face to face, like, do you think we can do this podcast via text? Probably not. No.
That would be
right.
Real messed up.
Yeah. So that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about I feel like some pretty good topics here. I don't think we can elaborate or have those pauses or have those moments with,
No, that makes sense.
In a group chat.
Just even having those open line of communication. Like, I just find sometimes siblings can easily fall out of touch with each other.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
if they're having, like, everybody has parents getting older. Like, my parents are 65, and so they're everything is checking off. But I often wonder, like, what's gonna happen as everybody gets older. Like, what happens when 10 years passes and the inevitable goes down, and to have like these open lines of communication with siblings, like you're in this together kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for me, my siblings are 9 and 13 years older than me, and so to kind of keep a consistent communication, because the oldest sibling has his two daughters, like totally different lifestyles. We have a few Facebook Messenger group chat, and I found that to be really helpful, because I can have just like some little weird goofy thing that happened in my day, and I can tell them about it, and otherwise they wouldn't know about like my life until like maybe a month down the road, it's somebody's birthday or something.
Right.
So we keep it like short and concise, and then when it's something more in depth, I give them a phone call.
Yeah.
But it's something that we kind of implemented in the last year, which I think has been great.
Yeah.
Because we lose touch. Like, hey, like, family is more than just each individual sibling's relationship with their parents. Family is how the siblings support each other down the road with all the battles that they overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like it sounds like you're pretty close with your siblings. Which is...
Yeah, I would say like we're all pretty different, but we're all good people. We do good things in our lives, and I think our perspectives on things have to be respected. And we have very differing perspectives, but I think if that respect is there and you hear each other out, even if you disagree, right? Like it's just so important that you're there for each other. You know, I have a very small family. That I know of. It's really actually quite large, but in Edmonton here, it's just my mom, dad, brother, and sister. So we only have each other. So, you know, those relationships take effort. So, and sometimes the effort lacks on whatever part of the siblings or parents even. So you always have to be like, you know, put things aside and put that effort in again, because relationships don't work on their own of any kind, right? Like, you know, just because you're family, you can't take that for granted that like they're blood, so they're gonna always like you. You gotta invest, but also like, you know, what's the big stuff you're gonna sweat and what's the small stuff? You gotta really pick and choose. So and sometimes you don't talk about it, sometimes you do, right? So you kind of have to gauge it, but you know, we're all here together. Up until recently, we all lived 2 minutes from each other. So and we all have kids, so they love each other.
That's good.
They know nothing about life yet except fun, right? But so that's good. You know, sometimes you have to think about like those kids know something. You know, the little ones, the toddler age. Like, you know, it's not until you become adults that we have to work so hard to become a kid again.
Completely. Moving on to your community involvement, because you're very involved with like volunteering and stuff. What gives you the energy to put in those countless hours towards all the causes you've helped? And let's use your Bikes for Kids campaign as an example. Like, how much time did it take to organize that, like with Cycle Bar, and organize it so that like bikes got sold? Was it a challenge, or did the community come through for you, or?
Yeah, like I don't know, like it's just such a, people think it's a lot of work, but it all stems from an idea, right? And it's your power to commit to that idea, and things just start rolling. Because when you believe in something so much, if you surround yourself with good people, they all of a sudden believe in you too. It's just like this like domino effect that just keeps growing, and it becomes a monster, and it did, right? Like I had so many people coming. I had almost $4,000 donated. I had an event. I don't know if you remember that event that I had at YEG Cycle, and I got 2 bikes. And I was actually hesitant back then. I was just like, oh, no one's gonna come. And then I'm like, I got 2 bikes. Cool. I'm gonna do it again. You know. And then I got 6 more bikes. So now I have 8 bikes for my kids. And I'm always thinking, like, if I haven't done this, the bikes wouldn't be there. So yeah, damn Dao, you did a good job of like starting the idea, but it wasn't me. Like, I had the power to start the idea. That's why I always think about, like, I have so much power. I have like this incredible, like this insatiable need to like do something and get it done, and people just really fall in line with my vision, and they help me. Like Farah's was incredible. Loma, you know, she's actually the one that talked to me a year prior and saying, hey, whenever you want to do this bike thing, just give me a call. I didn't give her a call because I didn't think like she would remember. She goes, hey Dao, I want to offer you my studio. When do you want to do this bike thing? I'm like, are you serious? We set it up. We got it done. People signed up. You know, I think I sent out a few messages, not a lot, but people just caught on. A lot of people reposted, and Champs did it for me. Far did it. So many people just supported it, and then, you know, had this jar at the front, and I was charging $100 a ride because I knew each bike cost $5.99. Right. And so it was, I needed like 6 people just to get 1 bike for $100 each. So when that jar filled up with all these $100 bills, I'm like, holy shit, you know. And then I counted cash. I remember counting cash. Like, that was important to me. Like, how many bikes? I'm like, oh my God, we get 6 bikes. The next day I went to work with all this cash. I submitted it. And then I went online to Apple Fitness. I ordered 6 bikes. Like, so cool. It's so, like, it just happened like that. And then I don't know if you watched my Instagram story, but like there one day, like the Apple Fitness guy comes in, is like with a clipboard. Hey, I'm looking for Dao Haddad. We have 6 bikes here, and they're just all wheeling it in. It was just like, it felt like The Price is Right. Like, I was just won something. I'm like, hey, I didn't win something. This is like our community and our doing. So, yeah, I believe that I have the power to do it. It's not that and what a waste of power to just sit there and going, I can do this. Why can't I do it again? So I'll be doing things again and again and again because I know I can do it.
Totally. I love it. That's so great. And like, have you noticed the kids benefiting from the bikes? Like, do they have a regular regiment, or is it just like when they need to unwind, they hop on a bike? Or
so yeah, it could be regular regiments. It can be very haphazard. What I'm noticing is that teachers know their students really well. They know that the research behind heavy leg work and the release of endorphins and that muscle work, right, really helps them focus or calm or invigorate or excite. So there's lots of benefits, and depending on the child. So there's 8 bikes total in our school. We have them scattered throughout our whole school. Probably we have 3 floors, at least 2 or 3 on each floor, and you get the same kids using it for different reasons, for different amount of times, but it's being in use. And I've had to call Apple Fitness to come by and like fix a couple bikes because they're getting run down, but for a good reason. Mm-hmm. They're not getting like, wrecked because the kids are screwing with them. They're actually being used so much that we have to keep servicing them. That's awesome. So, and I come by and I turn up the tension. I'm like, you need a little bit more, do a little sprint for me. Let's climb it.
You have music going for them? Or
no. But I mean, some kids, just moving is enough. Like, that'd be cool to kind of get it all in a room, but and have a little spin class. But with kids, especially the clientele at my school, they're dealing with so much individual trauma. You don't know if it's what you're doing sometimes is going to be a trigger or a stimulus or a detriment to what they're going through. So everything has to be responsive and individual. So that's why I like each bike is kind of in different spots for different kids.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, I love it. You should come by to the school and take a walk through. Honestly, we can spend like half an hour to an hour together, and I can show you how each and every single bike is being utilized and by who. Kind of like little stories behind each kid. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Come
by.
A point of that.
Yeah, do it.
Our next question is a random one, but this one is going to really get in tune.
I'm ready.
With your future. Your future possible endeavors. If you could live anywhere in the world, absolutely anywhere, all money aside, you have an unlimited budget, but you had to stay there for the rest of your life.
Ugh.
Where would it be?
Oh, Chris, I don't think I can. I don't think I can leave here.
I like that.
I don't think
it
I
really
can.
shows in your personality.
Yeah. I'm grounded here. I grew up here like 38 years, so I don't think I can leave. My family's here. I have the power and the potential to do whatever I can anywhere in the world. I can travel anywhere at any time, anywhere I want. So, I'm going to have this as my home base, and everywhere else, I'm just going to be like a bungee cord. I can go, release, come back, and back, And so that's the beauty of home, and Edmonton is home. I love Edmonton. Like, I'm not into that, like, bad rap about here. I love it here.
Yeah, I think the people really make this city what it is.
Yeah.
Sure, we get really, really weird weather. Like, the weirdest weather.
Oh, I have like 10 pairs of shoes and like all sorts of thickness of jackets in my car to prepare.
It's like you get kind of a fall when spring should be, and then you get a month of summer, and then you get first winter. And then
wasn't it beautiful today though?
It was really
gorgeous today.
Like, I actually made a point to get outside and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Because when are we gonna have these days happen? We don't even know. That's the funny thing. I stopped looking at the Weather Network unless I'm going to like Jasper or something. Yeah. But I stopped because like we never really know.
Yeah. But once winter hits, we embrace it, and then we just compare cold to coldest, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it would be minus like 18, but it's not minus 40, so minus 18 is just
this is nice.
This is nice. It's nice. It's really nice.
T-shirts.
Yeah, so yeah.
So This is the final question. If you could give our listeners one piece of advice on how to live their life the most authentic way and have the most fulfilling life, what would it be? What would that advice be?
Whatever is bothering you, really let it bother you and then face it. Because that shit will carry on with you for a long time and it will hold you back from everything else you want to do. So if you're in that relationship and you need to leave, ask yourself those tough questions. Leave or stay. Do those things that bother you, that's kind of like that you're putting off on the back burner. Everybody has it, right? So I think realizing those blockages and healing what you need to heal, repairing those relationships that you need to repair, whatever it is, or that dream that you have that's been itching at you, but you say you can't because you're stuck in something, just really explore those things. So, I mean, I know that's a vague piece of advice in terms of, I think just in order to move forward.
Apply that
to
a situation.
In order to move forward, you got to see what's stopping you.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.
Yes. See you next time. Thank you.